Before we get this thing going, y'all talk real quick for me.
Check.
Talk real quick.
Hello.
Yo.
Hey, Matt, go ahead and give Pat McAfee a shout out.
Pat McAfee, come on. You know you want to come on.
Man, that would have convinced me.
Exactly.
So that would have that would have got me.
I was going to say something else. But
I don't understand. I don't understand how he's not here.
He's blowing up our DMs now.
I was going to say something else, but I was like, yeah, I better not, because he'll definitely not come.
What are the goons in the group? Are they posting for us? Let's just get this over to the chatting screen. They don't want to see the chatting screen no more.
Let's do it. Share it to the group.
Hello, everybody. Everybody's signing in.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Yes. You guys are being way too quiet. I can't.
No.
Help me out.
What do you need us to do? Let's get started.
Let's
get the party pumping. Let's get this party
We're
started.
waiting for people to log on.
The last 30 minutes have been fire, and we need to talk about it.
Like you asked me to.
Fire, pure fire.
All day's been fire.
All day.
I'm kicking all my kids off my Wi-Fi, so we have a strong bandwidth connection.
Priorities, I like it.
Thanks. I mean, they're
You
not.
gotta make sure.
Let's be honest.
We have to make sure
Make
all
me a
of
terrible
them.
mother.
No, nobody would be judging you. What do you mean?
Nobody.
My kids are up except for the baby. It's spring break, so my kids are up.
All right. Y'all ready to get this bad boy?
Oh my God, it's spring break already, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, dude, I tweeted the other day. I'm kind of worried about spring break because last spring break, these teachers didn't take their kids back.
Spring break never ended.
They never took their kids
Not this time. You're taking these kids back.
All right. Harish, you're recording?
Let's do it.
Like, I know that you guys watching live, we don't just go on live and call it a podcast. We actually have a podcast. So all this stuff that you see doesn't happen once it gets uploaded. Make sure you subscribe and give us some ratings. It's on all the major platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, Amazon,
YouTube,
Castbox, you name it. Twitter.
All that.
Everywhere. We're everywhere.
They love it
worldwide.
Everywhere.
All right, here we go. Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast on the Brawl Network. I am Samantha Burnett. Tonight, we're kicking off Free Agency 2021. It's been very exciting thus far. We're super excited about the moves that are happening this offseason. And I do want to start off by saying that we appreciate you guys tuning in. And the good news is you can find us live on Facebook every Monday at 9:30 p.m. And the podcast is available on all major platforms Wednesday mornings, as well as our very own Chris Jackson is hosting a Thursday night stream within the AFC South Fan Battle group. It's a private group on Facebook. If you want to join in on the action, like, comment, we have contests and everything else. Make sure you join AFC South Fan Battle. And you can find all the good content there. And Chris Jackson will be hosting our little teaser recap episodes on Thursdays, and those will be available Saturday mornings. So, without further ado, our commentators for this
It's a really good intro.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Good job.
Our commentators this evening, joining us for the Colts, we have Harish winning for Wentz Nukala.
Guys, relax. It's okay. Trust in Ballard.
For the Titans, we have John missing John Uha.
Sam, that was a really good intro.
Thank you, John. That was the most positivity we'll get from you this entire podcast.
Probably.
Joining us for the Texans, we have Matt, the actual Cardinals fan, Briggs.
Hey, look. Nick is digging deep in that bargain bin. Deep. Loving it.
And joining us for the Jaguars, we have Justin Tanking for Trevor or forever, Gonzalez.
Not forever. Not forever. Just tanking for right now.
You know, it's gonna. How long do you think it's gonna take the Jags to build that stadium behind you with Trevor?
Not
Because it's coming out. It's been about 30 years. It's coming along pretty slowly.
long.
Where's the swimming pool?
They got rid of it.
I
couldn't
think
afford
this
it.
is actually. This is from a while ago. I think.
Couldn't afford it. Salary cap's too high.
Listen, none of you are important.
Yeah.
We have a special guest this evening, okay?
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Joining us from the Colts
I'm
Brawl,
important.
we have Destin Adams.
Destin Adams, the one without a nickname, so I feel really special. Special guest here. But hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks
I
for
mean, I could
coming on,
name you
Destin.
Destin, the fan of the only team we beat last year, Adams.
I mean, that would work. Yeah.
We being the Jaguars, because I'm a non-biased host who is also a Jaguars fan when I'm not hosting this podcast.
I'm gonna
So
make.
currently, you're not a Jaguars fan.
I'm always a Jaguars fan. I just got to keep it
We're gonna-
PG.
I'm gonna make you feel special. This is the Destin Adams from Sports
There
Brawl.
you go.
Colts Brawl.
The
There you
Destin
go. The
Adams.
Destin Adams.
From the
Yeah.
Colts Brawl on the Brawl Network.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go change my Twitter to the Destin Adams after this.
Yeah,
Perfect.
actually, before we kick this thing off, because we're going to start off with just a few notable free agency moves, Destin, why don't you go ahead and tell us where to find your podcast, The Colts Brawl, and how to find you on Twitter.
Yeah. So you can find Colts Brawl on just about wherever you listen to podcasts. I mean, we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, YouTube is coming soon. We have face that are meant for podcasts, but enough people have asked us to dive into the YouTube realm. So we're going to let people see us a little bit. So we're going to dive into YouTube here. But if you follow us on YouTube, on Twitter at Colts Brawl, we have a link in our bio or our link tree that has a link to everywhere you can find us. And if you want to follow me personally for whatever reason, my Twitter is at Destin_Adams14.
But too soon to be the Destin Adams,
The-
right?
Coming soon.
Perfect.
Can I ask you
That
a personal
handle's
question
not
before we
taken,
get
is it?
started?
Sure.
Did your parents go on vacation when you were conceived, possibly to Destin, Florida?
Well, my parents had me when they were 16 and 17.
So they might have.
So
Spring break.
I mean, I said it could have been. I mean, it could have been a break from school. It
Sounds
could
like
have been-
Destin residence to me.
Listen, they laugh. They laugh, but my daughter's name is London because she was conceived the night the Jaguars beat the Ravens 44-7 in London. So
Yeah,
I'm saying.
I think my reason's a little bit more boring. My mom wanted a girl, and she wanted to name her Destiny. She didn't get her wish. She got all boy. And I ended up with just Destin. So they were just lazy. That's what it was. They
Can
were
you
just lazy and
tell
just dropped
everybody-
one letter.
Can you just tell everybody?
They did
that
get the
was-
Y with the chromosome.
I was.
Can I
I
just
was
tell everybody-
conceived while my parents were on spring break in Destin.
So for now on, that's the story I'll tell. My
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
All right, guys. Listen, let's just get this thing going. And current NFL news, notable things happening. Free agency 2021. We made it. Anybody? Round of applause.
Woo! Everybody, we have to be excited, or Sam gets really upset at us. She's a very abusive host.
Listen, I'm the mom, and you guys have responsibilities, and one of those is getting hype. And if you're not going to get hype, then just be John and be
I'm
sad
hyped.
and negative.
Perfect. Well, I'm very excited.
That was a joke. Anyways,
Oh, okay.
some notables. We won't talk about
It was
AFC
a good
South
joke.
related. Of course, we know Jonnu. We know JJ Watt. Ngakwe. He is
Bye.
going to
Bye,
the
Felicia.
Raiders. What was that,
Good.
Justin?
Bye, Felicia.
I was like low key hoping the Jaguars would pick him back up, but that's fine. He can go to the Raiders.
I say
The
you sound
whole-
like a jealous ex-girlfriend right now. A little bit about Yannick. It feels like you've not really gotten over that relationship.
Ooh, I wish you would.
Me?
You should see me with Jalen.
Me?
Ramsey. It's pretty terrible. Like
Yeah.
anytime anybody talks about him on any of the Jags groups, I'm like, I've never heard of her. Every time. That's even worse. Anyways, Jalen Mills to the Patriots. Gronk re-signed with Tampa. Does anybody want to take over? There's been a lot.
You
Patriots
can
just
say
spending
like
lots of money.
I was about to say you can say half of NFL free agents to New England. Like
Yeah, they're spending lots of money.
I say they signed Jonnu Smith and then a bunch of B and C tier guys. I mean, the Bill Belichick way, I guess.
Yeah, New
Nelson.
England's getting a lot of people. Aguilar from
Yeah.
the
But
Raiders.
why'd they do Cam Newton again? I'm very surprised by that one.
I'm not. Here's the thing. You throw in the COVID factor, right? COVID, so no off season. Cam was out during the season because of COVID. So if you really look at it, he only played what, 8 games, 9 games.
I thought he played like 13 games.
No, he got hurt. He had COVID, the whole COVID thing.
Well, see,
I
that's
think
the
they just
thing.
wanted to run it back.
He can't stay healthy, and if you look at his stats, ever since he had that shoulder surgery, his numbers have went down. His arm is not the arm that it used to be. It's becoming a wet noodle.
Hey,
He
I mean,
peaked in
they
week 2.
they competed in just about every game outside of like the Broncos game last year somehow still though.
Well,
I
that's the thing.
But they were ugly games though.
That's the thing.
But just looking at Bill Belichick's like pride that he's always had.
Yeah.
I mean, he just wants to go out there and say, I won with Cam Newton. So like everybody can get off me about Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl. That's just really what it comes down to.
How many opt-outs did they have? They had a handful.
They did have a lot of the COVID
6 or
opt-outs.
7.
They did,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Now, is it possible that McDaniels has more say in the offense than is advertised?
Well,
No.
who gives a
No.
shit? It's Josh McDaniels. Nobody gives a fuck about him.
But the thing with that first half of the season is they ran a lot of option plays and it was working. But this teams found out about it and they game planned around it and they stopped it. They had I think they started 4-0 in the beginning of the season or 3-0 something like that.
They started
1 and
1
3,
and 2
wasn't it?
at one point.
1 and
Yeah,
3.
they were 1 and 2
they-
at one point.
I think you're wrong on that one.
Either way,
We're
Cam
talking
Newton
about
peaked in his loss to the
Yan-
Seahawks.
The Yan signing, Justin and I were talking about this actually in pre-production. He got like 26 million, 2 years, 26 million.
Who was that? Sorry.
He's literally taking more cuts than he would have if he would have just signed with Jacksonville. But
I thought he was going to take another 1-year deal because he keeps saying he's betting on himself trying to get the big money contract. But I mean, so he still only gets a 2-year deal. But I mean, Yannick's a guy I would have taken in Indy personally. So like,
Yeah, he's
good for the
very
Raiders.
good.
And then you look at the rest of the market right now, and he probably got way less than a lot of these other guys. I would have paid him more than Leonard Floyd.
my biggest thing with that situation is he wanted to be in Baltimore. That was his like goal because he's from there. So I figured, I mean, was it just a sense of they're just like, no, we're not going to take you, and they found somebody?
Nah.
Hey,
It
when I
was
was in college, I always was looking forward to going home. But then the week would end of Thanksgiving, and I'd be ready to get out of there again. So I mean, so maybe it was a similar situation. He went home, and he was like, "Man, Uncle Jeff or whatever is really annoying. I can't be here anymore." We don't know. I mean, it could have been any given reason.
Did they
I
offer
think-
him more than the Raiders?
I don't think they actually released what the figures were that they
Yeah.
offered him.
I don't think they can until like.
They might be able to. Who knows? I don't really know how this legal tampering period starts.
Yeah.
It's like a fake thing to me. It's just something that they call it just so they.
Like, is it possible that they didn't want him back?
Sure. I mean,
No,
anything's
I
possible.
don't. I think,
don't think?
They needed him back in Baltimore because they lost the one pass rusher that went to the Patriots.
Judah.
Well,
Yeah,
we have some comments from the group, so I just want to read some of these real quick. Colts Talk
Mhm.
said, "Woohoo, Destin."
Yeah, Colts Talk he just joined us under the Colts Brawl umbrella. He's going to be running a lot of our YouTube content. Like I said, when we're getting on YouTube soon, Colts Talk, Marcus from Colts Talk, he's going to be running that for us.
All right, shout out Marcus. What's up, man? Sorry. You're muted.
Sam, you're muted.
That's perfect. That's fine.
Just as we planned.
Yeah,
But I mean, if
I
we're
don't
talking
think
about
she knows.
she doesn't
say if
know.
we're talking about notable moves, I guess we can. While she figures that out, I mean, like Shaq Barrett ended up back in Tampa Bay. I mean, I always thought it was going to happen because the cap space is a myth anyway. I mean, no one everyone should know that at this point. I mean, if a good team wants to retain somebody, they find a way to get them back.
Most definitely.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just that this year is going to be a little bit tougher losses for teams. They're going to have to cut players that you wouldn't typically do, even when you try to make room for them. It's just that's kind of how this year is going to be.
I mean, hey, this whole voidable down the years thing that everyone's doing, these voidable years on contracts, is like the
people
biggest
are getting
loophole.
creative.
I say it's the biggest loophole I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, like every team's just going to be able to keep pushing out the cap hit because I mean, Gronk signed a $10 million contract and his cap hit's only $4 million, just because of these voidable years stuff. I mean, all these other winning teams, they're going to find ways to bring their guys back.
Well, yeah, that's true. Sorry, go ahead, Reach.
For a casual, can you explain what the voidable contract situation do you know like how that works?
Oh, yeah, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, basically, what it is they're just creating more years on the contract that are 100% voidable to spread out the cap hit, and then they're giving them most of their money in a signing bonus up front that doesn't count on the books. So they're still getting the players still getting their money, but like for example, Levante David, who signed for 12.5 or whatever he got a year, but his cap hit is only $3.5 million on the cap hit because they gave him a large signing bonus up front, and they're pushing all of those down for like 4 or 5 voidable years that they'll never see because they're just going to cut them or they'll just end the contract.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, no, I guess you're right. You know, these winning teams are going to find ways to do stuff, right? So that's really interesting. I'm curious to see how else that continues to impact teams.
Can you guys hear me right now?
She's back. Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. So we're going to take a couple comments from the group. And then we're going to have a word from our sponsors because we're going to try this out now. We're going to edit this part out. I just want to make sure you guys heard me. So you guys heard nothing that I said from the comments from the group?
Correct.
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, you did because I said something about cold stock, correct? You heard that?
We heard that.
Yeah, we heard that.
And you cut off
cut
right
out,
after
yeah.
that.
Okay. Well, Chris Jackson said, hey, Destin, Sam isn't always this bad, I promise, which isn't true because I'm always this bad. And then he said, Sam doesn't get over former Jags players very well, which is also true.
Hey, I mean, Harris sounded more upset about Josh McDaniels than you did about players.
This year. Watch Wentz come out and prove all the haters wrong. Just you watch. Chris Royals said, Matt, you might change your logo after Casario is done. So that's it. So we'll take a short break before we break down each team's free agency moves and listen to a word from our sponsors. That doesn't mean you guys have to stop talking because.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Perfect.
I'm glad that you guys can hear me now. I was super confused. I was just rambling.
Yeah,
Maybe that was for the best.
we're screaming at you.
Maybe that was for the best.
You just kept talking. I don't even think you realized you're out.
You were rolling.
You might have been on a roll.
Just like normal. She's just not even listen to us.
Pretty much. All right. Anyways, we're back.
We back.
Destin,
We back.
Harish.
Yeah.
Since you guys are on here for the Colts, and we only have Destin for a couple more minutes because he has to run off and record Colts Brawl. Why don't you guys talk about some of the major moves the Colts are making and what you guys can expect from these moves, what's going to happen, where you're going. Are you going to beat the Jags at home this year? Probably not. Those kind of things. Go ahead.
Yeah, so while we don't acknowledge 1 in 15 teams because you can win once a year and it'd be luck, as we already know that. Destin, I had some questions for you. I wrote down, we sent to you. We're gonna throw it all out the window because it doesn't matter anymore. My number one guy, Romeo Okwara, is gone. I was very upset about that. I guess my questions for you are really, what do you think the Colts are doing? I mean, this is again as a Colts fan. Obviously, you put the tweet out there earlier today of Colts fans are panicking. Any normal Colts fan would probably be, but we all know this is what Chris Ballard does. This is what he's done for the last 5 years, and it's worked. So this year is not any different. What do you expect from this day on? Just you personally, or from what you've heard moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, Ballard's kind of been the same person every year since he's been a GM of the Colts. That's why I think it's always hilarious when Colts fans go into panic mode every year after day one passes and the Colts didn't sign 10 of the top 10 free agents on the market. And I'm sure all fan bases do it. But my Twitter feed is just full of Colts fans. And Colts fans were all up in arms because they didn't get Aquara, who was the Colts flavor of the year. Getting him. I mean, there's still receivers on the market. There's still a lot of guys heading into day two, which is how Chris Ballard likes it. He doesn't want to get into the bidding wars on day one. So I'm not surprised at all that we didn't sign anybody day one because I've been here before. I know how this works with Chris Ballard. I'm just excited to see what moves do happen. We already saw people overpay people today. I'm not trying to at the Titans, but Bud Dupree getting $16.5 million was outrageous in my opinion, coming off of an injury. But I like Bud Dupree's talent. I just think paying him that much is just setting yourself up for failure.
What are your top moves? Obviously, one that I know you're a fan of, and I want you to talk
Harish,
about this.
Before you go on, can I ask him a question?
Sure, Sam. We'll let the
sorry.
host spoil the show.
I mean, that's my job. I'm here to spoil the show. I was just going to ask if you were a Chris Ballard fan in particular.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, coming in when he was hired, he was probably one of the most coveted guys. So I was excited on that aspect. And then
Harish
also coming out
and we heard he was a big asshole, and it made me so happy because I watched Harish's face literally drop and almost melt off of his skull, and it made me so happy.
I mean,
Go ahead.
Chris Ballard's always been a very honest person, like on interviews and stuff. So I'm not shocked if he comes off that way, I guess. But I've always been a Chris Ballard guy. He's always been very candid. And I guess most GMs aren't always like that. They don't really tell it as it is. They kind of beat around the bush, and he's never been that way.
And I think it's funny you mentioned that because we all know this, right? And, it might come off as assholish, but yeah, I like to still think that Colts fans still try to dig into the weeds when they already know what's going to happen, right? It's like, hey, we're going to adjust the pass rush, but it's not the way Colts fans want it to be addressed. It's going to be the way Chris Ballard wants to do it, and that still ticks off Colts fans. It's actually a really interesting dynamic that we, over the last 5 years, we're still in the same circle of doom between this interesting relationship between the fan base and the GM. But every year we cheer our asses off because obviously he's doing a great thing out here. So it's just another year of circulation between the fan base and Ballard, and hopes that one day he'll make that one big splash move. One person you've been really talking up and obviously have started to get on that same page with you is talk about Hassan Reddick. Why do you like this guy so much? What do you think he brings to the Colts, and how does he fit with your excitement level that you have?
Yeah, so Hassan Reddick's definitely been like my guy for the free agency period. He's a athletic freak on the edge. He's a guy who just has a crazy combination of speed and strength at his size. And the biggest thing for me is he's coming off a career year of 12.5 sacks, but he also, the crazy part, a lot of people will throw out the fact that he only had he had 5 of those sacks in one game, but he also was only on the line with his hand in the grass for about 60% of the snaps, because for whatever reason, the Cardinals do not know how to use these versatile players. They kept trying to put him in coverage, which is why he would get some poor PFF grades and things like that in coverage. But the guy is a pass rusher. He has the speed. He has the strength to do that. So the fact is, like, you take away the 5 sacks in one game, he still had 7.5 sacks on only 60% of the snaps on the line. So you put him on the line full time, I think he's a guy that's just going to flourish. And we all know that Ballard loves those long and athletic edges. So he fits the Chris Ballard mold perfectly, in my opinion.
Long and athletic edges.
Yeah. Samantha and Chris Ballard have that in common. They both are just really into those long and athletic edge rushers. But that's just always been Chris Ballard's MO.
Yeah. Sam also likes to talk about men rubbing against each other at live events. So and how she cheers for the hotter ones. So, but she claims to not like.
We
UFC.
all do.
We're talking, and he's
She
referring
claims
to
to not
the
like
UFC,
UFC.
not midget wrestling, but yeah.
I'm
Whoa.
sure that's where everyone's head went.
Yeah, right.
Dirty,
If they
sick
think
people.
like me, it did.
I guess the last thing is TY. What's the deal on TY? Earlier today, we heard that Ballard was gonna try to attempt to match anything TY offers. What is his market? Do you know? Have you heard anything? Do you know a number? I mean, I guess in my mind, I would put somewhere between the ballpark of 8 and 10. I've heard somewhere. I've read places that he could get up to 15, 16. Is that a market Ballard is willing to chase for that position? Or is there a loyalty discount at all, if anything?
So the biggest thing is T.Y. Hilton was always going to hit the market. This is his first and only chance to be an actual free agent and be able to get coveted this way, which is something players just really like to have. And his career has been in Indianapolis. He's been signed before hitting the market, his past contracts. So this was his first time. So he was always going to hit the market because he wants to experience that. And this is his last contract. From what I have heard, TY is the number one priority of the in-house guys for Ballard and co. I mean, they've been very open saying how much they love TY, the person, the leader, and the player. They think he has a lot left in the tank. And I think we saw it last year that even when he wasn't being used because he didn't really fit Phillip Rivers' strengths, he was still an asset. He was a guy that took double coverage at times. He was a guy who was able to draw pass interferences, not at the rate he probably should, because if you watch T.Y. Hilton play, the dude is interfered with on every throw it almost. But I mean, I think T.Y. Hilton's going to end up back. To give you a number, I mean, that's always tough because there's always a team like the Jets or the Jaguars that are going to like add $5 million on to whatever the market is. And just throwing crazy numbers at players here and there. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Jets did that to our guy today, so they don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But and that's just how it works when you have the most cap. I mean, it's a luxury you get to be able to overpay a guy. And I mean, the Jets and the Jaguars have the most cap, so they're in that situation. So it kind of depends. I think TY, from what I've heard, I think the Colts will be willing to match any offer up to 12.5. I think he'll get in that $10 million realm because I think he'd rather come back to the Colts. I just think he wanted to experience the free agency.
To interject real quick, I just read something. The Broncos will not exercise option on Kareem Jackson's contract, and Tennessee and Kareem Jackson are in deep talks. So there might be a signing of Kareem Jackson to the Titans.
Breaking news here on
Breaking
AFC.
news.
Well, Dustin, are there any final thoughts before you have to run off and record your own podcast that's probably not as awful as this one?
No, I mean, I'm just, for any Colts fans that are listening, or I mean, any fans, I would just say to expect the Colts to still be active in wave 2 and 3 of free agency. That's where Ballard likes to make his money moves. And there's going to be a lot of solid guys there. For any reason, if Hassan Reddick is listening, I want you on the Indianapolis Colts more than anyone else wants you anywhere. So make sure you come to Indianapolis. I'll get your jersey. I'll hook you up with restaurants in Indy that you want to go and visit. That's really my last thing I want to say is Hassan Reddick to Indy needs to happen. And Bud Dupree was overpaid.
My guy.
Quick question. Did Allen Robinson sign anywhere? I have not seen news.
He's franchise tag still. So, I mean, he's not going
Right,
to sign the tag. So he'll have to get traded.
Harish is convinced that he might end up with the Colts. And then if that happens, I might cry. So
I did want him.
Does he sign with the Colts?
I mean, he's not going to be a free agent, and the Colts aren't going to trade for him.
They're not going to trade for him.
Yeah, so he's going to get traded wherever he goes because he got tagged. The franchise tag should be abolished. It's awful. It forces players past when they're not even under contract anymore. There's no such thing in any other job in America where you can just force a person to stay when their contract is up. But that is my rant on the franchise tag before I go. But thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you, Dustin.
Keep
we
talking.
Appreciate you coming on. Please come on again in the future.
Hey, my DMs are always open. You guys can always hit me up, and I'm always willing to come talk Colts. Maybe after the Colts actually sign some people and Colts fans can stop crying themselves to sleep.
Slide into your DMs?
Hey, you guys did it without me telling you could the first time. So I mean, why not at least offer the invitation?
That's what we don't go into people's DMs invited. We only go into your DMs uninvited.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission. That is what my
That's
mom
right.
always told me.
Am I
Perfect.
right, Pat McAfee? Okay. Anyways, Dustin, thank you. Appreciate you coming on.
All right, bye, guys.
Good one, Dustin. Thanks.
All right. Time to move on to our most negative, downer, so sad commentator of the AFC South Fan Battle podcast.
Justin, you're up.
I was gonna say, is that Justin?
No, that'd be Mr. John Hall,
Oh.
who I'm sure is going to be even more depressed this evening because Johnny's gone. Oh, look, he's
I'm
already.
pretty nonchalant. I wasn't super crazy about Janu. That second half of the season really makes this loss much more palatable. He kind of just dropped off the face of the earth. It felt
Don't
like.
forget Corey Davis too. He's gone.
Corey Davis, I already expected. This is a year for us that was like.
Where did he go to Detroit? Where did he go?
Corey Davis, he's at the Jets.
Yeah,
The
the
Jets.
Jets.
The Jets
They
just
gave him way
overpaid
too
him.
much
They
money,
overpaid,
is
yeah.
what I saw.
Yes, they gave him far too much money for a guy who never got 1,000 yards. But it,
Usually do that.
yeah, we've been known to do it too. But
Yeah, they just did it.
yeah, but we've I lost my train of thought. We were talking about Corey Davis. Oh, but this offseason was going to be like with the way our salary cap was. This is just going to be one of those things where those sort of guys who are kind of fan favorites like Janu Smith and Corey Davis or whatever, those guys we were going to end up having to cut them. You know, we were going to have to let them go. Not cut them, but we're going to have to let them go. You're just going to have to mentally prepare to lose people that you were sentimental about that aren't necessarily vital to the team, at least hopefully not vital to the team. I wouldn't think anybody would argue Corey Davis was vital to it, but my guess would be that they try to fill offensive players with the draft and try to sign veterans in free agency on defense. Obviously,
Yeah.
Bud Dupree coming in is fitting that.
Yeah,
And then and Autry too. Give me the breakdown, Harish, on Autry. What should I expect?
Stud.
I love
Stud.
Danico Autry. You know, I'm one of the few Colts fans that said I think that hurts our defensive line a little bit. It looks like it's a matter of Ballard got outbid. He's not gonna, chase the player. The Titans outbid Ballard, and he said, "All right, peace out." So it turns out that the second year of the contract is a little bit higher than what the Colts were willing to offer in the second year. So as he gets older, the Titans are going to pay more.
Well, and the
on
cap's
Colts.
going to go far more up in the second year, so
That plays into
they're
it.
not too
So-
worried about it.
Yeah. So again,
And the good thing for you, John, is y'all don't have to play him twice a year because he
Right.
destroyed the Titans twice a year. He
they
just
obliterated the Titans. Yeah.
wrecked havoc on them every year.
And is some of that because of DeForest Buckner? Absolutely. But again, that's what we want in an edge rusher, a guy that's just going to come in and wreak havoc on the edges. Because DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard are going to take care of the inside, right? We need speed on the outside. Destin, I think that's why the Hassan Reddick pick is really interesting because he's got that speed and that size that they're looking for out on the outside, which is, Von Miller is another very, very interesting edge rush option. Chris Ballard does not shy away from signing veterans nobody else wants. He did it with Justin Houston. He did it with a couple other guys, and he did it with Xavier Rhodes last year. And those little timely signings have really worked out for the Colts. So if Von Miller's out there, that could potentially be a choice as well. I think
for you guys, right?
Yeah, I think Danico Autry for you guys. We'll see how he fits. He's never played in a 3-4 system, so I think you guys I don't know if you guys are switching it up or what.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would guess that we're going to stay the same. I mean, coordinators and stuff, everyone stayed with in-house. We didn't make any outside hires there. So I would imagine the schemes are going to stay pretty similar. My guess is that that Vrabel feels pretty confident that he can turn that defense into a better performer than last year. I mean, it's not going to be too hard to be better. It's hard to be worse than that, but I think that's why they're going to try to chase more veteran tech guys on defenses, because I think that they're going to try to get youth on offense and just maybe try to not be as crappy on defense with some guys that have proven to be solid.
Look,
No,
I'm not.
I don't know, John. I know this was like a big talk. I don't know what the final numbers were, but I know that the Titans were very, very limited on cap space. And
Yes.
so we know that really, as far as picking up.
Well, that's why we let go of Malcolm Butler, and then Vicario leaving helps out too. I mean, that's no, I think Vicario was a free agent, but Butler letting him go helped free up some extra space.
I don't mean to break the what's going on, but breaking news.
No, we need those.
Trey Hendrickson just signed a 4-year, $60 million deal for with the Bengals. So there you go. That's why they let Carl Lawson walk. So 4 years, $62 million, with $32 million in the first 2 years. So another hefty price tag. These are all guys Colts fans wanted, Titans fans wanted. These are the prices.
Yeah, but that's the harsh truth that we're gonna have to face, is that we're not gonna be getting these like marquee kind of guys that because we just don't have the bankroll to do it. So we're gonna have to be a little bit more savvy with the moves we make. We're gonna have to try. I think
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think Bud Dupree is that signing for us. I think that's the move that J-Rob is making, to be like, okay, that's our marquee free agency signing on defense. Everything else, we're going to try to be a little bit more savvier and try to sort of bet against the house.
Yep.
Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
I lost my train of thought. It's fine. That's why I ended up.
That's fine.
I was trying to keep the conversation going, so we didn't have any dead air. So Sam, while you think about that, more breaking news: the Texans have just
Texans news.
Yep, the Texans have just now signed linebacker Kevin Pierre-Louis to a 2-year deal worth up to $8 million. Look, Nick Cassero, we could say what we want about the Texans and how they're handling that organization. He's filling in holes really quickly.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Cheaply.
I guess we'll talk about that when we get to the Texans. Never mind.
Yeah.
My
Justin,
biggest thing is, have you guys heard
happy.
that conspiracy? I think it was Barstool Sports maybe that did a thing. It was a conspiracy about Sean Payton purposely racking up the price, like kind of how you would do inflation for most things. And it was for players this year, especially quarterbacks. Did you guys see that conspiracy? I'll have to find the video and link it.
No, because Clinton House was on the podcast last week.
Yeah. We didn't get to talk about it. We didn't get to talk about much.
It was one. Who is it that does the cartoons? Is it Barstool Sports?
It's
Bleacher Report.
Bleacher Report, yeah, the gridiron,
they did
whatever.
One about Sean Payton purposely marking up the prices of quarterbacks. So during free agency,
That's
people
funny.
were forced to sign. I'll find it and link it in the group, but it was, and I'll link it on the podcast too. But it was really funny and actually fits the narrative of what's going on in free agency. So,
Jeez.
John, any final thoughts?
I did have some more questions with Harish. Marcus Johnson. Again, this is more questions too. What should I expect from this guy?
Very good route runner, has great hands, super physical. He's not a guy you should expect to use often. He's definitely a utility guy, a guy the Colts have used sparingly. But when he's been asked to come up and step up, he's been really good.
So is it possible he's just a guy that needs more reps, maybe, or is it just
potentially? He could be a number 4, right? And he's just got to be used. I think Marcus Johnson's really good. He played really well for us.
Right now for us, offensively, I mean, we've got our clear number 1 wide receiver. We're just really looking for 2, 3, and 4. We're looking for some consistency there. We're rolling with Corey Davis as the 2, but then, our 3s were like Adam Humphries, he's gone. Khalif Raymond, I'm pretty sure he's gone. So, I mean, that's why I think a lot of guys are going to come out of the draft offensively, but that's why I was curious about Marcus Johnson. It's like, should I expect him to maybe try to move up that depth chart, or is there more likely that
I don't know.
we're going to get a rookie in that?
I don't know. It just depends on what you do with them. I don't think he's obviously not going to be enough to bolster the offense. But we also, I don't know what role they plan on using him in. I think, the Bud Dupree thing and the Danico Archer thing, I am kind of butthurt about it. But it all comes down to health. If Bud Dupree is the Bud Dupree he was before that ACL, that's a very, very good signing. Personally, I wanted him.
That's why I think who was it? Destin? I think it was like they overpaid him. It's like none of that really like made any sense to me. Where it's like we're not paying him like all that much in 2021. Like none of that's going to matter because he's going to be.
I think
it's
he
all
got
backloaded.
I do think he did get paid a little bit more than what he was worth. My personal worth, right?
Right.
Yeah. So,
but we
Coming
were
off
going to
of
have to pay one guy like that.
Sure.
Like we're going to get one guy that's going to get probably a little bit more. But that's what happens when you're a free agent. You end up getting more than you're probably worth anyway when you're a free agent because there's a bidding war.
Yep, for sure. We're done.
Either way, yeah, there we go. Sam, what do you got?
Well, we'll segue this into the team that has no money into the team that has the most money in free agency. Bidding wars.
Who have you signed?
Let's go.
The issue that a lot of Jags fans are seeing is that they're pretty much like, yeah, don't bet on any big names coming, but Carlos signed today, so some people say it's terrible.
So who's the big name that's coming?
Oh, I mean, I'd love Allen Robinson. This isn't my segment. This is Justin's. Let's stop. Okay, anyways, Justin, you're the commentator for this evening.
Yes.
Do you see the Jaguars signing a big name?
Tomorrow. I think the next 2 days you're going to see stuff coming in. And when you say big name, like I think the people that are on our radar aren't tier 1 free agents. Okay. Excuse me. Tier 1 free agents. I don't think that's going to happen. You saw it today. Rudy Ford, Jamal Agnew, they're all special teams players, right? And Urban's trying to fill the needs that he can in free agency. But I think this guy's like, I can't even think of the defensive tackle from the Giants. I can't think of his name offhand. I'm sorry. But people like that, there's a couple other guys. Carlos Hyde isn't going to see the field unless James Robinson's hurt.
Yeah, but do you
He's
think
not
that
gonna
was
see.
a bad sign for the Jaguars?
I'm indifferent about it. I don't really care because I know what his role is. You know what I mean? If James Robinson gets hurt, it's going to be he's the fill-in essentially. And
I think it's a good pickup for you guys. Like you said, he's not going to see the field. Obviously, it's the future. Robinson's the future. But if he needs a break or two, Carlos Hyde is a perfect guy to fill that position.
I don't even see him in the rotation. I'll be honest. I don't even see him in the rotation. I think it's just insurance. He knows Urban. He knows the system. It's one of his guys. You see it all the time with college coaches going out there and signing their my guys, and that's what he is. What I see, the biggest loss for the Jags, the big tier 1 free agent that I really wanted that we didn't get, which I'm upset about, is Josh Johnson, the safety from Los Angeles. Yeah. He's the guy that we needed and I wanted, and we didn't get him. He went to Cleveland. So that sucks. But you're going to see interior defensive linemen. You're going to see, hopefully, Curtis Samuel is still sitting out there so we can get a slot receiver that can run up the seam because that's pretty much Urban's MO. And I think you're just going to see a lot of tier 2 free agents over the next couple of days. I don't think we're in the mix for a lot of guys that went today, like Trey Hendrickson and those kind of guys. We just weren't in the mix for those guys.
Now, do you think that possibly because especially words are hard, especially the Jaguars offensively are young? Do you think Carlos Hyde could have been a veteran, take the rookies under your league kind of sign?
Maybe. I've never heard someone come out and say Carlos Hyde's a great leader per se. Very well could be. You know what I mean? But I just don't know that about Carlos Hyde. You know what I mean? But I love the Jamal Agnew because you don't know if Keelan Cole's coming back. So now you got a returner who has 4.3 speed. I mean, that's crucial to have. Keelan Cole's gone. And I think it feels void. So I think day one, I'm glad we didn't go out there and bid on some of the Judon or whatever. I know he was in the mix and there was a rumor going around. It's the stupidest rumor I think I've ever heard in my life. And it was Orlando Brown, the right tackle who wants left tackle money from the Ravens, in a trade. So our 25th pick and our 33rd pick and DJ Chark going to the Ravens. In return, we get Orlando Brown.
I heard that. Where did that come from?
I don't know, but
It came
somebody
from.
posted it in the group chat, and my response was,
I saw that.
Stop. But go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, it was Sports Nation. It was Sports Nation's Ravens webpage, and I'm not saying there isn't validity to the Orlando Brown connection, because we do have connections with the Ravens and doing a lot of trades over the last couple of years with them. But I mean, you don't. Yeah, that's way too much capital to give up for a guy. Then you're going to have to sign for at least $20 million a year. Like, I think that's the key. But
Can we
overall, I'm
talk
happy.
about-
Urban,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I'm happy with what Urban's doing. There's like videos coming out. I feel like it's like every 5 days or so, the Jaguars are releasing a video, like a hype video for Urban. And it's starting to give me like the University of Florida, like 07, 08 vibes. And I hated that team and I hated Urban.
Wow.
But God, it's starting to feel like the culture's starting to change a little bit, and it feels good. It feels so
that's
good.
good for the Jaguars, considering they signed a position that was like head of culture or something. So
Yeah, I it's still the Urban show. Like I know people are gonna, think that Trent Baalke is like the guy, but I'm starting to think that Urban's running everything, and if something goes wrong, Baalke's gonna be the fall guy
we talked
that
about
they
this
can
last
get
week.
rid of.
easily.
I'm gonna have a really rough time as long as he's here, because I cannot call him Balky. It's
Oh.
Balky. I cannot call him Balky. I know that's his name,
Sorry.
but it just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Cousin
Okay.
Balky.
She hates saying names
Okay.
correctly. Yeah.
Especially Harish.
She like-
I just call him
She almost
Harish.
harsh.
I do see us trading for Allen Robinson, though.
Oh God, I hope
Absolutely.
So. I mean, I'm not.
That's the
You
only
see-
Jaguar that
You
left.
see
that
you
I would
trading?
want
You said you see you training for Allen Robinson?
that. Yeah, because I do think there's a connection there with all the little tidbits of he mentioned that he wanted to go back to the Jaguars. I do see us trading for him and also signing him long term, maybe like a four-year deal with a fifth-year option. I do see that happening.
Well, I'm a woman, so I overthink these kind of situations. But he's following Tony Khan.
Oh God, here we go. Oh my God, it's so exciting. He's following Tony Khan.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Anyways, can we talk about my favorite signing from today? Sarcastically, Andrew Norwell.
Okay.
I know you like him.
Oh, we are restructuring his contract. I don't like the guy, but if you're
restructuring second year in a row, but go ahead.
Urban Meyer loves him.
He does, and he fits his own blocking scheme. So I mean, it only makes sense. But I don't have a problem with the guy. But as you can see, I think Joe Thuney just signed a deal with the Chiefs, and it was more or the same amount that Norwell signed for. Like, you're not going to find a guard unless he's in the draft that's going to do what these guys can do for cheaper than $8 million a year. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, not going to happen.
If you see the number that the Chiefs paid today, you know,
like
guards are super expensive now.
4 years, 61 million, I think.
Yeah,
it was
Quentin Nelson is going to be absolutely absurd next year. Then, if that's what that guy is.
Is not so much like guards aren't going to take less, but does Norwell deserve that? And yeah, Thuney got 5 years, $80 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I mean,
that's a lot of money.
You're not gonna find it less. Does he deserve it? He was coming off a Pro Bowl year the year before when we signed him to that contract. So I can't blame them for signing him to that much money, because you would expect the play to be the same. But this is what I got to say. After this year, there's not going to be an excuse for Andrew Norwell, because he's getting a coach, he's getting a system that knows what they're doing.
And this is what his third different scheme, right?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah. So,
well, anxious to see what happens for the Jaguars. now.
The draft is really where the Jags, I think, are going to strike gold.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
pretty
think they
much-
wanted Shaq
Pretty much when
Barrett.
the draft episode airs, it's pretty much just going to be the Jaguars, and then you guys will be really crying because
Why? The Colts get 3rd and 4th round bangers every year in the draft.
yes, we know.
Sure.
We know.
I
We
think
know
the
what you
biggest
about
miss for
trading
the
down your first to
Jaguars.
get those sleepers in the 3rd and 4th.
Every year.
Matt, you want to talk about the Cardinals? Oh no, I'm sorry, the Texans.
Look, I put my Cardinals away for today. Nick Casario is doing moves. He's doing work. Like
He's got a lot of shit to clean up.
and
I guess
and
he's
he's
doing a pretty
doing
good
it.
job cleaning up.
I read a tweet and I completely agree. It's the same thing that Pete Carroll did in Seattle, and that's slowly making his own roster, and it's looking good so far. I'm loving
Pete Carroll didn't do it very slowly.
Well, he's doing the same way, and he's doing it cheap. That's what I like about it. He's not going out there overpaying guys.
Bargain hunter, baby.
Right, and the trades he made yesterday or Saturday, unbelievable trade. I mean, you got rid of McKinney, who come off a knee injury, so you don't know what you're getting out of him. You got a beast in Zach Lawson. Like, I know everybody's making fun of it in the group, but they should be low key scared of Zach Lawson. He's going to destroy it.
Yeah, I don't think it's just that they got a beast. They got a beast that's going to fit the scheme that they
Oh,
want.
100%.
Right,
I completely agree with you. And then Marcus Cannon, he's an improvement anywhere on the line besides Tunzel. We got McCray. He was coached by our offensive lineman coach, James Campion, over there in Atlanta and Green Bay. So that's another good fit. I mean, we're just picking up good players. Vincent Taylor, another good signing. Collins from the Cowboys, real good signing. The one that kind of threw me for a loop was I read it was Joe Thomas. I was like, oh, Joe Thomas getting my retirement? But it's the linebacker Joe Thomas from the Cowboys. He had a pretty decent year. Finally got a special team player, Andre Roberts. We haven't had a special team player since Jacoby Jones that was this dynamic. So I'm excited to see that.
You guys know it's the Jaguars and Texans portion of the podcast because all the Colts and Titans fans are arguing in the chat right now. I can tell you one banner that we have and you don't, and that's Super Bowl banner. And we know that it's the Jags and Texans segment. Okay.
What do you think about Mark Ingram?
Oh, hold on.
I love the Mark.
I wanted to talk about that, but I wanted to ask you this question because I know you're going to avoid it first.
So I'm never avoid anything. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. You just sit there in silence and hope nobody. It's like that kid in class that hopes the teacher doesn't call on him to read. We heard you last week. You were like, "Oh, I'm just gonna sit here and hope nobody says the Texans because I have nothing good to say."
I don't. I mean, I
Now
do
you're
today.
singing
Today's
the
the only day.
praises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's the only day.
My
Right.
question,
Hey,
real
look.
quick, before we talk about Mark Ingram, because that was an awesome signing in my opinion,
Yeah.
is
Mine too.
Watson. What is he gonna do?
Does it change? Yeah.
Is there any
I don't
rumors,
see
any
it.
more news?
Last I've heard, no. I just don't. I don't see it. He doesn't want to be here. I know a lot of fans are hoping for us to sign Fuller to make him happy, but Fuller's not worth more than $5 million, and I don't think he's going to take it. I think his price is going to be too much. So I think he's going to sit out. I honestly do. He's going to make a statement, and he's going to sit out for the rest of the year, and then we're going to trade him next year.
You know,
Now
the
on to-
Texans just signed another wide receiver, Chris Moore, 1 year, $2 million. It really sounds like they're just filling gaps and holes with just people on the roster to fill the roster.
I'm not saying they're going to be an outright contender for the playoffs or the division, but if they do pick up like an Alex Smith, a guy who can move down the field while Watson's on the bench, they could win 8-8 games with this roster. It's not looking bad at all.
No, it's
Matt,
not. It's not.
I
Really
don't think
curious.
so either, which is why I think it would be so weird for Watson to sit this out because he could win with a roster.
I can tell you. I can tell you why. Because he has Jalen Ramsey's manager as a manager,
Yes,
and
I've been saying that.
it's honestly he's being
He's
mind.
that guy.
Yeah, he's being mind scoped of what to say, what to do.
It's the same
And-
exact. We had when we had Seth Payne and Pat Storm on here before. It's the same exact thing I asked them, and they said absolutely, because that's what the agents. They're pretty much like your lawyer, and they're here to make you bargain for better.
And he has a track record. Jalen Ramsey ain't the only guy he's done this for. It's just
Who is it?
more money, more.
Never
I forgot his name.
No,
Yeah,
I
I
was
forgot his
asking
name
who that
too.
other player was that you just mentioned.
It's nobody important.
Jalen Ramsey. It
Oh,
was
never-
the
Marcus
Jaguars.
Peters.
Jaguars had him
Mark-
for a while. He was really good.
Oh,
Never
we're
heard
talking
of
about that.
He's still
game.
he's actually still really good, but now he's at the Rams.
Never heard of her.
I'm surprised you haven't heard of Jalen Ramsey as
Never
a
heard of
Jaguars
her.
fan. What's
But going back to that Mark Ingram pickup, I thought it was smart. I think we pay him $800,000. That's it. He only gets $6 million on incentives. So like
David
if you
Mogoleta.
suck, David Margaret, yeah, that's the
Margarita.
But
Margarita. What?
if he sucks, he doesn't get paid. If he balls out, that's good for the Texans and good for him. So I like everybody in the group hates it. I think this is smart.
Interestingly enough,
Why? I mean,
Yeah.
interestingly enough,
that's a great contract for
And
for the
and
Texans.
he already knows the system because he played with our head coach with Coley over there in Baltimore. So yeah, I think it's smart. And then the Justin Britt signing was, I mean, our offensive line is completely.
Am I crazy to say
180.
that I don't think the Texans are as
Oh, we
like
have more
screwed
breaking
as
news.
like we've been
Yes.
made them out to be?
more breaking
what do you got?
news. Texans sign linebacker Kevin Pierre-Louis.
Hurry should have said that.
that's like 10 minutes old.
Yeah, Hurry should have said that.
I don't listen when he talks. My bad. Go ahead.
Breaking news: Sam is behind.
Again.
Yeah, they're
no, but
low key picking up good. Like,
I really don't think the Texans are like, because it was fun. It was a fun joke to talk about. Yeah, it was a fun joke to talk about how the Texans is. The Texans, what a horribly run organization, all this stuff. Like I don't hate what they've been doing, and I just if they could figure out Deshaun Watson, I don't think you guys are all that bad.
like I said, I highly doubt he comes back. I highly doubt it. But if they get somebody like an Alex Smith who knows how to win, I think that's a quick cover.
Are you just writing off any possibility of Deshaun Watson playing this year? Is it just write off for you?
I think so. I mean, they did him dirty. They did him real dirty this year, and he just doesn't want to be a part of it. I don't blame him. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know. I just look at it and I just think that like I would hope that Deshaun Watson could see that he has something to work with, and it's like,
But yeah, okay, you're right.
Why
He
not
does.
put
He
something
has a
on
lot.
tape?
He has a lot of pieces to work with. You're right, 100%. But why work for somebody? Would you want to work for a boss that doesn't listen to you time and time and time again after carrying this whole team? I mean, that's what they're doing to him. And until they get rid of Easterby,
That will
until
forever
they
remain
get
the
rid
biggest
of
question in for me is
Yeah.
why
How
is
does-
he still there?
Does that guy have a job?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
why is
I
he
know
still
that's
there?
crazy.
I will never understand.
him and that other Houston pastor. I can't think of his name. The one that has the summit. They are.
Joel
I don't know
Osteen.
how they get all these followers. Joel Osteen. I don't know how they get all these followers, but they hook, line, and sinker him.
Listen,
And he got Cal McNair.
my best friend actually told me, he's like, next week on the podcast, and this is how I know that he's a shitty best friend, because he obviously doesn't listen to them the whole way. He's like, you guys need to talk about Easterby and talk about how terrible he is. I'm like, we literally do it every week, dude. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, right.
What do you mean?
Keep listening, bud. My guy,
Dude,
keep
every
listening.
week. Well, guys, any more final thoughts before we wrap this thing up? I think this is it.
Colts fans, relax, chill. That's
Pat
all.
McAfee. I know you're listening, bro. We're not stopping. We're not stopping. Come on, just come to the dark side. Just 10, 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes. Come on. Come. Dark side. That's all I'm saying.
John?
I can't think of anything. What do you guys want? What? I wasn't too negative today, was I?
No, I thought you did
No,
good.
you're overly happy, and I hated it.
I mean, I was more or less surprised that you didn't actually cry about the Janu thing, but I mean,
Look,
hey,
this
good
is.
for you.
I mean, this is off season me. It's like I'm very Johnny
Well-
or easy come, easy go when it comes to off season free agency drafts. I'm like, whatever, we'll figure it out. Once they start playing ball is when I get frustrated.
Well, guys,
Well, you said you want to see somebody cry about Janu. You should have Cherry or Flame on. They would
oh
definitely
no,
be.
Flame.
in
yeah,
No,
they
tune.
thought-
Flame. Listen,
yeah.
Flame has already been commenting this whole time, talking about how bad the Colts suck. So I know that his feelings are hurt because Flame likes to project his anger and sadness onto other people.
Okay, Flame. If Flame really loves Johnny Smith, it's like okay. Like the other thing too is that like we've made our team work with like 3 tight ends. I'm okay with going from 3 tight ends to 2 tight ends.
And you're
I'm fine
talking
with
about
it.
Flame, not Jonathan, correct?
Sorry, not Flame. So who is it? The one that was
No, it's
wanted
Flame.
about
Flame talks one.
Flame.
way,
Flame's the one
and
that
when
worried
it comes
about
on the
John.
podcast, he's actually realistic, so that's why he's making that comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his real
the guy-
name's Jonathan.
I'll
Anyway,
talk
oh,
for
sorry.
Justin because I think we had a call
we
drop
lost
for
him.
call drop for Justin, but I hope the Jags do come out and sign some big names. Yeah.
It's not happening. Look,
Okay.
be prepared to be a Colts fan and
Yeah.
be like excited right before free agency, and then they're just gonna shit on you the day free agency starts, and you'll just get a bunch of budget people, which will be really good, and so you'll be happy with it.
Are you talking to the Colts or are you talking to me?
Yeah, Jags.
Talking to the Jags,
Oh, okay.
He
That's
said
what
you're
you-
gonna have to adapt that mentality.
yeah, because you know what, Colts fans do it for 5 years. We do it every fucking year. We get angry, but then when we're 12-4 at the end of the season, we're like, damn, Ballard's a goddamn genius, and then we
well,
don't go.
we wouldn't know about that most seasons, so
Yeah.
you know, maybe. one
Fair
day.
enough. Hey, maybe you can. Hey, maybe you can start to make a habit of it. You know, you just got to trust in the process. Urban, baby, that's your guy.
Well, guys, we thank you for tuning in once again to this season or this episode of AFC South Fan Battle.
It's still a
Pod.
season.
Yeah, this season. But we hope you tune in for every episode this season. Like I said before, we are going to be updating weekly, especially during free agency. Things could change at any time. Make sure you join the group, AFC South Fan Battle Podcast. It's a private group, so you have to join, answer the questions, but you can come in there and jump on the action and listen in and watch live. On Thursday nights, Chris Jackson is doing his episode, and they will be available on Saturday. And our weekly podcasts are updated and uploaded onto all major platforms on Wednesday. We thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Peace.